Hello again, welcome to the Ref Show. When something is right, but it feels all wrong, I think that's where we are with VAR, aren't we? Our old friend VAR, and our old friend Kevin Friend as well, was in the middle of the big talking point of the weekend. There's no doubt about it. We're actually talking about a goal that didn't stand and had no real bearing, the decision, on Manchester United's FA Cup victory at Huddersfield. Juan Mata netting a goal, and I was talking to David Hirst, he's with Dean Mohareb here. David, I saw you score many a goal where you were just onside, you made your well-timed run, you scored. How would you have felt if you'd have been Juan Mata and having this one disallowed?
I'd have been a little bit upset with that. I mean, having said that, my knees are not as big as his knees, so I'd have probably been onside. But it's just crazy. I mean, we're trying to get a spectacle in the game here, not make a mess of it.
Yeah.
And for me, that made a mockery of the game, to be honest.
Well, even David Wagner, and he was favoured by the delay for the VAR call, which disallowed the goal. Even he, the Huddersfield manager, says, I don't like it. It's taking the emotion out of the game. Now, our friend here, Dean, has got all the sort of technical expertise as a former referee. How do you feel as a football fan?
I don't like it. I think you go back to you putting the ball in the back of the net, looking probably a quick glance at the assistant, see that the flag hasn't gone up. Your immediate reaction then is you're going to celebrate. And obviously the delay stops that, and it stops that emotion. But on the positive side, what the purists will argue and what people who support VAR in principle argue is that obviously as long as you get to the right decision, it doesn't matter. Now for me, I don't think they got to the right decision. I have seen various lines of all different shapes and sizes, some wobbly, some straight, some drawn at an angle. And if we have to go to that depth to prove that a player is, by the PGMOL's reckoning, a kneecap offside, then I'm sorry, we are clinicalising something that for many years has been about giving the benefit of the doubt to the attackers.
I was going to say, use the phrase disappearing up our own backsides, if I can be so bold.
Well, offside was brought in the laws of the game to stop what was in effect goal hanging.
Yeah.
That's what it was brought in for. That's the background to the offside law. When the laws were rewritten back in 2015, the offside law, pretty much in terms of the offside position and the definition of it, stayed the same. The definition of offside stayed the same in terms of the position. So nothing's changed in that regard. When in VAR is introduced, it's all about minimum interference, maximum impact. That's what the IFAB motto is. And when you look at offside, you're either on or you're off. And that's what people are saying. You're either on or you're off. So VAR will make a decision based on fact. What happened at the weekend was that we initially got pictures from the studio showing lines that were offset, they weren't straight. So that then immediately brings from the football fans' perspective, what's going on with the system? Is this what are they looking at? The technology has obviously failed. We then get at half-time BT Sport showing a line that showed Mata was onside, clear straight line, correct angle, onside. They then went for the advertisements, came back, they'd found another line that the studio had sent where the VAR was to say Mata was offside.
I think if they're
nonsense.
If they're working with computers well enough, they could make out that it weren't even Mata there.
Correct.
That's how silly it is. If you're trying to find a situation, you can find it.
Why was VAR involved? What happened to clear and obvious? Does it have to be involved in this?
For offside, clear and obvious doesn't come into it. Every goal is reviewed.
So that's terrible.
There's an automatic review for every goal because, to be fair, Alan, if something had happened and it wasn't reviewed, there'd be as big as outcry as there was on Saturday when the system wasn't worked right. So they review every goal. Now, in terms of what happened at the weekend with the Huddersfield Man United game, the point that David's making is a valid one. The issue here is not with the referee. No. I thought Kevin Friend and his team had an excellent game at the weekend. I really did. I thought he refereed really well. Very confident. Different Kevin Friend to what I'd seen a few weeks ago. Thought he had a really good game. The issue is not with the VAR, because Neil Swarbrick can only work with the information he's given. The issue is with the technician. And I'm hearing lots of things coming out of PGMOL that for a number of weeks now, the VARs have been expressing concern about the experience of the technicians. They're putting interns in there. I've also found out that they're putting interns at the game for goal line technology. This is Hawkeye, the company that administer it. And what we need to look at is the protocol, because within IFAB, the technician is referred to as a replay operator. That's their job. And it actually says in the IFAB protocol, no specific training or experience is needed for this job.
Really?
Well, it clearly is.
Well,
because it clearly is, because what
that's a great point.
what happened at the weekend was purely down to poor monitoring of the equipment.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And I still think, going back to offside, if we have to analyse someone's kneecap, the game's going mad.
Well, this is it. I mean, it's a bit of a rod with its own back, though. The way we're allowed to, the goal line technology, when you see them taking corners, the ball's not in the trident.
Yeah.
Quadrant.
Quadrant. Trident. Yeah. In the quadrant, so it's overhanging.
Yeah.
Now, are we saying now the offside, if you're overhanging, if my head's in an offside position but my feet are not, am I offside, am I onside?
Well,
what the law says is that if any part of your body is nearer to the goal line than both the ball and the second last defender, with the exception of the arms, because you can't play both, then you are offside.
benefit of the doubt, though, is still in the laws of the game to the attacker.
Well, what you
VAR is taking that out.
It is, and what you also have to understand is that from an assistant referee's point of view, and I've been fortunate enough to operate on the Premier League, you cannot be to that degree of certainty correct. It's impossible. The naked eye cannot do it. And if we go to the judgment that the assistant referee made, Matt Wilkes, I thought it was a world-class decision.
Absolutely.
Because, in effect, Mata is level. We're talking about kneecaps and we're talking about little toes. Mata is level. And if we go back to what I said before about the spirit of the offside law to reduce goal hanging, if he's that level, you give the benefit to the attacker.
Yeah. So effectively, for all games that have VAR, say it came into the Premier League next season, you'd have to rewrite the law on that.
Well,
benefit of the doubt.
No, because benefit of the doubt is not in the law. It never has been. Benefit of the doubt has always been the way that the assistants have been trained to judge offside, because
if you're unsure,
because in effect, to the naked eye, the screenshot you have, if you're thinking, in effect, oh, that's close, what tends to be proven from data is that if you're thinking that's close, 98% of the time they're onside. Because actually the screenshot you had is probably moments after the ball was played. It's very difficult to get the exact capture. So benefit of the doubt's all about interpretation. What we're saying at the weekend with the VAR is that this is going to clinicalise the offside law to that degree of accuracy.
Do we as football people?
And I'm not sure, and I'm still not sure, because of the technology.
At what stage down the line does this take over? And we're going to end up without a man in the middle, without a man on the touchline.
We also lose the game, don't we?
And the game goes downhill.
Well, I'll be honest with you, you're not going to need, and they're not going to like me saying this, you're not going to need assistant referees for offside judgments.
No.
Because in effect, what will happen is the game will carry on. And every time a goal's scored, it's got to be reviewed anyway.
So if there was an offside,
it'll be given as offside.
Okay, we're going to speed through some of the other FA Cup games, but it was right that we devoted all that time to this because it's just such a major talking point. Oh, well done to Rochdale. Coming back to force a replay against Tottenham Hotspur right at the end of the game. Goal from Steve Davies. 2-2 draw. Bobby Madley had the pleasure of being in the middle for that.
Whatever happens, they get their day out at Wembley.
Yeah. And it is a pleasure for a referee to be at the centre of a drama like that.
Do you know what people talk about, the magic of the FA Cup? It's gone. Well, it came back last night. I really enjoyed that game. I thought overall Bobby Madley had a decent game. I thought early on there was a tackle in the midfield area from a Rochdale player that I thought he should have clamped down on, but to be fair to him, nothing came after that, and I thought overall he did okay.
The Friday game saw Leicester City, through a Jamie Vardy goal, beat Sheffield United. That was refereed by Lee Mason without incident. There were no cards, by the way, in that game either, no yellows whatsoever, as there weren't in Craig Pawson's game either, Brighton beating Coventry by 3-1. So
just congratulations to Craig and his team who've been appointed to the League Cup final as well, which obviously is a fantastic appointment for him.
Yeah, well done, Craig, from Sheffield, congratulations to him on that. Andre Mariner sailed through, if you can pardon that terrible pun. Had a bit of a run out, and there was a run around for Hull, losing 4-0 at Chelsea. Jamie Vardy, David. Now you're his hero. His book says
was I believe, not now. I don't know if he follows me now.
Well, he grew up supporting you as a kid.
Yeah, he's a Wednesday fan. And it was around the time when I was playing that he was growing up at the club. yeah, the fantastic little article in his book about how he used to pretend he was David Hirst in the garden or in the schoolyard or whatever. So yeah. And to be fair, he scores the goal against the Blades. I know he was giving Harry Maguire some stick a couple of weeks ago of Harry's an owl and not a blade, but played for the Blades and all that. So I bet there was a good bit of banter in the dressing room there.
I bet. Just finally in part one, we've got 10 players sent off in one match. That was in Brazil to discuss in part two. All the Championship plus the Sheffield Wednesday Swansea game. Rondon's goal, only a consolation in West Brom 1, Southampton 2.
What a finish. What a finish over the shoulder. Smacked it straight in. The keeper was so surprised.
Reminded me of someone. Do rejoin
Jamie Vardy.
We'll not you. See you for part two.